Okay. Hello, good evening, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yeah, good evening. We can hear you.
Wonderful. It's 7, and we are hoping to start at exactly 7:05, just to allow people to come to the meeting. So in the meantime, we'll wait till it's 7:05. Thank you for understanding, and we'll begin immediately at 7:05 p.m. Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Hello, good evening, everyone, once again.
Good evening.
Wonderful.
Yeah, good evening.
Good
My
evening.
name is, okay, thank you. Thank you for responding. My name is Johnson Kweku, and tonight I'll be your moderator for this wonderful event. So, this program tonight is Ghaska Job Fair 2025 under the theme Navigating Career Successes in Korea. I'm trusting that tonight you're going to have a wonderful time as we learn from people's experiences, as we also use this opportunity to network and make meaningful connections through this program. And I'm hoping that we have a wonderful time today. So we set the ball rolling. We set the ball rolling as we invite the president of the Ghanaian Students in South Korea and Associate President to give us his welcome address and introduction and introducing this event to us. Mr. President, please, you have the floor. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Kweku. Um, Good evening, distinguished members of our noble community. And also, I'm aware that some other nationals have actually joined us for this important event. It's actually a very great pleasure that I welcome all of us to today's or this evening's job fair, navigating career success in South Korea. This event is actually an incredible opportunity for all of us to come together to explore the dynamic career landscapes that we find in our current location. So South Korea, as we all know, stands as a leader, or as leaders in the innovation, technology, and global business that offers an exciting array of career opportunities for us who are taking our first step into the job markets or seeking new paths to grow and thrive professionally. This evening's event is actually designed to equip us with insights, tools, and connections to achieve our goals. So we are here to listen to two experts who will walk us through how to tap into opportunities in the land that we find ourselves currently. Then we shall also have the chance to listen to a successful story from a brother on how he was able to land in one of the renowned construction companies in South Korea. So let today be not for us to explore opportunities, but also to spur for inspiration, growth, and new beginnings. We are all being encouraged to fully immerse ourselves in the experiences and resources that will be provided this evening, and also ask questions when the need be. Being successful in our career is not just finding the right jobs, but building the skills and relationships that help us to grow and excel over a period of time. So on behalf of Ghana Ghaska community, I also want to extend our profound gratitude to our resource persons who are here with us this evening to share their experiences and to help us grow. So uh, your efforts to ensure, like, we need to help us to continue to create opportunities for meaningful connections and also empower the workforce of tomorrow. So once again, welcome, and let's make the most of this session as we navigate the pathways to career success in South Korea. Thank you all, and I wish you a productive and inspiring experience. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. If we were to be in a hall, I think would have given you a sound round of applause. But I think due to technology, we can't do that. I think I just saw one brother Mark giving you a round of applause. Thank you very much, Mr. President,
Thank
for the
you.
welcome and address. Also, we wanted to be engaging as much as possible. So just to be sure that we are actively participating, And if you find yourself in a comfortable place to put on your video, we'll be glad if you do that for us. If you find yourself in a very comfortable place, we'll be glad to see your face. As the president has rightly said that there's going to be a platform for us to create meaningful connections. Um, People's stories will also serve as inspiration for us, and those that probably might already have their own path charted already, it will also serve as a platform for growth. And to others, it will also be a new beginning. Thank you very much, Mr. President, for those words. We'll move quickly as we start with our first um, panel or keynote address in the person of Miss Husseina Abdullahi. She's an alumnus of SKKU. She studied economics but is now working in a STEM-related field. She also has 4 year working experience and also a founding member of the African Voices in Korea in ABOIC. So without wasting much time, we would like to welcome Ms. Husseina Abdullah as she gives us her talk. Madam, please, you have the platform.
Hello, thank you for the introduction. My name is Hussein Abdullahi, and I will be speaking today on my experience and my building a career in Korea. So before I start, I would like to share my screen. Let's see. Okay, so there's a screen that's currently being shared. So can I take over this? Okay, thank you. Give me a quick second. Because I am using okay, so I am using the Chrome browser. Okay, so I'm using the Zoom app. Usually I just open Zoom on the browser, so the sh screen sharing is being different today. Give me a quick.
Is it possible to share the file with me?
Yes, so I shared the link with Nana. I can share the link with you, and you could just, it's a Canvas link, so you could just open it on your end. Let me share. I will drop the link on the chat and then you should be able to open it and share it from your end. Let me know when you're able to access it. Also, if
All
everybody can hear me properly, let me know. If you need me to speak louder, I can go louder.
right. All right. Just give me a second.
Okay.
All right. Um, settle it.
Okay, I think now I can see my own
You know?
share. Yes. Okay, now it works on my end as well. All right, I'll use yours. So today I'll be talking about navigating career success in Korea. But before I start, I want to say thank you for having me. Nana reached out and said that they would like me to talk about career success. I was, yeah, more than excited. So I'm looking forward to speaking to you all. And I hope that my experience would be some sort of inspiration to those that are listening and in the process of looking for a job or about to graduate and just trying to figure out what next. So as I begin, when I say next, then you can move on to the next slides. And
Sure.
yes, so once again, I am Hussein Abdullahi. We can go to the next slide so I can show you the content of what I'll be speaking on today. Yes. So the content, first of all, I'll talk a little bit about me so you can get to know who this person is. And then my job search journey. It was a very short one, but I still added it. And the three key challenges that I identified that I faced when I was searching for a job and then tips to navigating career success as a job seeker and after getting a job in Korea. And then conclusion is just like a sentence inspired to aspire kind of conclusion. So about me. So first of all, I moved to Korea for my undergrad in 2015 from Nigeria. I got the JKS scholarship, so the Global Korea Scholarship, and got here. So did 1 year language and then 4 years of undergrad in Songyungwon University. So after graduating in 2020, by the way, worst time to graduate because everybody was going through COVID. So everything was just like, we don't know what's happening. So, nope. That was the vibe that I was getting the whole year. Because I graduated February and COVID exploded then. So things were just too uncertain. But that's besides the point. So I got my first role January 2021. So it looks like I had like almost a 1 year gap, but there's an explanation for that. And after 2021, I worked at the skincare company. They were just starting out. I worked there for a year plus, and then I quit my job and got into my current company. It's an IT consulting company, and I've been here for almost 3 years. So that's the quick summary about me. And then the next one. So my job search journey, it's not that much, it's very short. So once I graduated in 2020, I was doing a restaurant part-time at the time, so I just worked until June because I had an internship that was coming up in July. So I was like, okay, instead of looking for a full-time role and missing that internship, let me just continue the part-time until June. So I did a 2 month internship in July and August. And then in September, that was when I think I fully started job hunting for a full-time role. But instead of me to job hunt immediately, I was like, let me first relax for the first 2 weeks of September. Wrong move, guys, because then from middle of September till December, I was looking for jobs. By then, it felt like I was just throwing my resume in the black hole because of the COVID thing. There was lockdown. Everything seems to be shut. So there was no like vibe of hiring or anything going on. But lucky for me, when I was almost about to give up, I got a job in January. I'm just kidding. So I got a job in January, and that was when I first had a full-time offer, which was great because if not, yes. So the three key challenges. Also, please let me know if I'm moving too fast because I don't want to go fast and then I'm finished before 25 minutes. We'll just be looking at ourselves after that. But so the three key challenges that I faced was the first one was the inability to communicate the value that I bring to a company due to my lack of prior experience and a little bit of language barrier. I know it sounds like a lot of English, but basically I'm just saying because of there was no experience, I didn't know where I would fit. And economics is a kind of a gray kind of field whereby you don't just start working in a company with an economics undergrad. It's the kind of thing where you go do your PhD and then maybe go to World Bank. That's the kind of major it is. So there was no clear path for me. So I wasn't sure what value I could bring to any company in terms of contribution. So that was a challenge because my resume, I had to tweak it in a way that, yeah, I was like, okay, maybe business development was the closest thing. So that was one challenge. And the second one was a lack of diverse role. So when you're coming in as an entry person, there's not a lot of options of things that you can do. So most places were like probably international business or marketing and sales, digital marketing. Those were things I was not really interested in. So since I wasn't coming from a maybe STEM major or very specific major, that was a challenge I had. And then the biggest one, which was number three, was visa sponsorship not being available for a lot of roles. Because a lot of times when you see roles that you are interested in, the companies are like, okay, we do not sponsor visa. So if you're not F2, bye. So that was the main thing that I think were the challenges I faced. And yes, but if anything else come to mind, I'll let Nana know and she can share it to you guys in the group chat. But so far, this is all I could think of. And the next one. This one is on 5 tips on navigating career success as a job seeker. So for me, when I was hunting for a job, I don't think I had all of this organized in my mind as I do now. But if I want to start looking for a new role, I think these are the 5 things that I would be doing to ensure that I succeed. So the first thing is to recognize my value. Because I feel before going out and applying for a job, you need to be like, okay, this is what I know I can offer, and I am confident that I can offer this. So once you recognize that, it will be easier for you to convince people that you're going to contribute positively and you're going to bring solution to whatever challenges that they're trying to tackle. Because if you're unsure of the value you're bringing, the skills you're bringing, it will be hard to convince others because they're like, okay, this person doesn't seem like they'll be putting anything out there, so we're not too sure. So that's the first thing. Recognize your value, even in the smallest things. You're like, okay, do I write really well? Do I know how to organize? Am I fast at typing, or do I know how to communicate properly? It doesn't have to be something very serious or very technical, because sometimes I think we just overthink what a skill is and try to think of something big or groundbreaking, but it's usually the little things that keep things running. So that's why my first point is recognizing your value. And as I just said, before convincing anyone, you need to make sure that you know your thing. And then number two is to document and organize. So I think before joining my current company, everything was just, I wouldn't say cruise or just, but I was mainly, I don't think I used to document as much or be as organized as I am. So there was no kind of chronological order of the things I've worked on or my materials, but I realized if you want to have a smooth sailing job search experience, create a document like a folder within maybe your Google Drive and then name it, okay, my job search folder, put in your resumes as you're updating your resumes, organize them somewhere. So what this does is that it gives you clarity and it gives you the ability to improve. Where to look for things. Let's say if you're all over the place and you're not sure why you're not getting the call back, if you have it organized, you'll be like, okay, let me go and look at these last three resumes and see what I can change and improve. So having a place where you can always go back to reflect and improve, that's a way to make things easy for you to like improve. So that's okay, I've said improve a lot. I'll stop using that word now. But basically, that's the reason why organizing is very important and also documenting. So now, if I was to start looking for a job, the first thing I would do is to create a spreadsheet, make columns, the name of the company, the name of the role, their website links, and all of those kind of information, the dates that I'm applying, document and organize it in a way that I know the status, the progress of each place. So it gives me full clarity and I don't feel like I'm just throwing pasta on the wall and looking for the one that will stick. So I can follow through and in the next couple of years I'll be like, okay, so this is what I did that worked and this is what I can always replicate. So yes, so that's why documenting and organizing is very important. I believe this is something that I learned after working here at my current company for over the years, because a lot of times it's also easier to go back and get information once you've organized it. Because when things are not in order, you struggle to maybe reference things that you've done before. You'll be like, oh, what did I even spend this year doing? If you have it all in one folder, you'll be like, okay, I could just pick this and brush it up and then let people know about it. Okay, enough about organizing. The next one is to apply in volume. So I feel like there are two type of job applicant. Okay, there are multiple types, but the two types that cross my mind are one, those that apply in volume and randomly, and those that are like, these are the five companies that I have to get into. So they'll do everything they can to only apply to this company and spend a lot of time. But I would suggest having a balance, maybe at least 10 applications a day. And once you have it organized, let's say you have your spreadsheet, you're like, okay, I'll apply for this 10 today and then the other 10. It will increase your chances and you can be able to see where you're going. And I would also suggest narrowing down the roles because there are like Korean job sites like Job Korea, Saramin, where you have filters and you can filter out the type of roles that you're looking for, maybe roles that are looking for English speakers, and then you can take the links from those and add it to your spreadsheet so you have clarity that, okay, these are the ones I'm applying. And the good thing about those job sites is you can just click apply immediately. So you don't have to go through the process of filling out a form every time. So applying in volume and then just setting maybe a time frame whereby, okay, maybe a couple of times in a week I will apply and then do other things with your time. So you're not too overly obsessed trying to apply to as much places as you can and not resting or having a balanced life. So that's number three. And then number four is I would suggest practicing cold outreach. So there's this thing about networking and reaching out to people who are in companies or in the roles that you are interested in. Because my current role, so the person who referred me to this role, she's a friend that I've known for over a couple of years, and she said a lot of great things about the company. And I was like, "Oh, is your company hiring?" And she was like, "Yes." So she sent me the link of the company. So she's also Nigerian. And then I applied. So once I applied, they're like, "Okay, this is another Nigerian girl. Is this your friend?" They're like, "Okay, yes." And then I went for the interview. And I just had one interview and I got it. And then she was telling me that she had to interview 4 times before getting into the company. So they just trusted that because this person knows her, she's probably reliable. So she ran so I could walk, I guess. So I appreciate that for her, for myself. So reaching out to people who are in positions, it helps a lot because it kind of gets your foot in the door much faster. And don't think like, okay, this one, my case is of a friend, but if I don't know anybody in the company I want to apply for, I will go on LinkedIn, search for the company, the people working there, their roles, and just shoot out a message, be like, okay, I'm interested in this one. I would like to talk with you. Most times people would ignore, most times people will not respond. But if you send out 10, 20, if you get one response back, it could lead to something. So it's like I expect to not get responses to things and I just do them anyway because you should not be bothered by feedback because you're not, the things are out of your control. So I'll just focus on what is in my cycle of control, which is reaching out as much as possible. But in getting back to me, I'm like, man, on to the next, that kind of thing. So trying to not be affected by if you are receiving responses or not is also something that's important because sometimes it's like when people don't receive response or feedback, they just be like, oh, what's even the point? Why is this one forming for me? But that's not the case. It's like it's everyone is trying to focus on their own thing. So you just move on and just keep on going. So yes, so that's the number four. And then I feel like I'm speaking too fast. So if I need to slow down, please, you should let me know.
I think you're
Yes.
on pace. You're on pace.
Okay, thank you. And then number five is to be flexible. So the role that I am currently working at, I never pictured or imagined it before because when I did my economics undergrad, I don't know what maybe IT project manager really does, and I don't know what the day to day was like, but I decided to try and see what this is, and here I am. I'm really enjoying what I do. So I would really advise or suggest to be flexible because some people are like, okay, they're looking for energy engineering role. I'm like, that is very specific and that is great, but also keep your eyes open to maybe roles that are close to, but not exactly what you're currently looking for. And maybe that way it could be a stepping stone to get to where you need to be. Because I believe that no knowledge is wasted. So wherever you find yourself is a part of the journey. Sometimes you take a detour. So opening your mind to other things that might initially feel very far or even like very unrelated to what you're doing, you find your way back to where you need to be from what you've learned from the detour that you've taken. So the next slide, which is basically my final slide, is the 5 tips on navigating success after securing a job. So I've been working in my current company for almost 3 years. I started in May 2022. And the first year, let's say the first 1.5 year, I struggled a lot because there was a lot that I was dealing with. I don't think I've worked in such a fast-paced environment before. And the job before that, it was a new skincare company. It was quite a small, very small team. So there was no like there was just no pali pali or fast fast. Nothing was going on. But in this other place, because it's consulting, the nature of consulting is you're always answering to your clients. Your clients are the boss of you. They are the ones that are demanding for things, and there are always deadlines. You have to report status every day. And my boss was and is very obsessed with perfection and trying to make sure everything is perfect. You do not do anything that affects the customers. So it was a lot for me in the beginning. And also, I was getting a lot of feedback in a short period of time about the things that I lacked. So those were the struggles because I felt like it was personal attack at that point. But As time went on, I was like, okay, no, this person is trying to help me grow as fast as I can. So that's why they're giving me this much information. But it took time for me to reflect and realize that. So why am I sharing this? I'm sharing this because I think after the first 3 years, now is when, I mean, the first 2 years, I think now is where I feel the most comfortable at my job. I don't feel as anxious as I used to be. And what contributed to that was the shift in mindset. So one of those is taking ownership. So I know this, some people that I observe, work is just work. I just go there to do my own and get out, which is one way to say it. But for me, I feel like I have a bigger end goal. I have something that I'm working towards, maybe to building my own company in the future. I don't know, but there's just something else that is out there. And I see this current role as a stepping stone towards that. So what I need to do in my present role is take as much ownership and take it as my own to see how I would work in things that I am also building. So I would advise people to take ownership. So it builds trust and it tells others that you are reliable, that they can count on you to show up when needed. And it would lead more doors to be open to you because they're like, okay, if this person is taking care of this thing as if it's their own, we can entrust them with more things because we know that they're going to deliver each time. So that's my first one. And number two is to be a sponge. So in this one is to soak up as much information in your first 3 months because what you're trying to do in a new role is to make sure you succeed and not struggle. So the best way to succeed is get in-depth understanding of the information that is being shared to you. And even if not enough information is being shared to you, doing your own research and trying to understand as much as possible. Because usually, I think the first 3 months in Korea is a training period when they're trying to see if they want to keep you full-time or not. So once they see maybe, okay, this person has learned so much and they're able to apply themselves, there'll be no reason for them to not keep you to continue because they'll be like, this person will continue growing at a fast pace since they are ready to just learn and apply. So yeah, so that's why I wrote the first 3 months, best time to soak in, absorb as much knowledge as you can, and you want to try as much as possible to not struggle in the future. So the opportunity to learn, take it, and then you will thank yourself later that when big challenges come, you're like, okay, I know this, and I think I'll be able to figure a way around it. So, yes. And then number three is to learn to over communicate. So, communication is a big thing. And just a sidetrack, I think one of the things my boss tells, because he likes to just do random lectures to us, and he was telling me that of 100% of our skills, 80% like organizing and communicating should be 80%. Then the technical skills of maybe the actual coding or other admin stuff should be like 20%. Because if you cannot communicate or organize, people will not be able to see what you can actually do. Because it's those that communicate the best that are perceived as the smartest in the room. Just imagine you are in a place. The quiet one will not call your attention. It's the person that is blowing all the grammar and giving all the breakdown. They're very like, yeah, this person know what they're talking about. So learning to communicate is a skill that I cannot overemphasize on because it's very, very important. Is what would differentiate you. So why I wrote over communicating here is because most people tend to under communicate. They expect you to be mind readers and remove the information from their head. Don't be those people. Try to always speak and share information, even though they don't ask you. Not in a way that you are bothering people with information. It's more like, okay, I am new, since you are new here and probably this is your manager, you'd like to inform your manager that, okay, this is what I was able to do this week. And this thing that you asked me to do, here is the status, here is where I am, here is when you get another feedback. So the manager would not be wondering in their mind, okay, is this person actually doing what I asked them to do? So they don't have much questions because you're giving them all the information they need without even asking. And they will tend, and I think that would lead them to value you more because they're like, okay, I can entrust on this person to take care and also give me information even before I ask them. Because sometimes it feels like when I'm communicating with some people, I feel like I'm drawing the information from them. It's like I have to drag it out because I'm like, do you want to talk or not? But anyways, that's besides the point. And then number four is developing a growth mindset. So I see each role that I am in as a stepping stone. So I want to embrace challenges and do the hard things. Like if let's say people want to do the easiest thing to just get at me, I want to do the most challenging things as much as I can. So when a more easy challenge comes, I'll be coasting, I'll be having a lavish time because I've done something that's much more harder. It's like maybe doing level 10 of something, and then in the future when level 5 comes, I wouldn't be struggling at all because I'm like, okay, I've done something that's more harder than this, so let's run it. Yes. So the growth mindset is just to be embracing challenge and not to dwell too much on failures and setbacks since they are part of the learning process. Because I feel like one of my weaknesses is when I make mistakes, it's like, I'll sit down and think about that mistake for a minute. And I need to learn to stop doing that because it has happened, it has passed, and I just need to know not to do that again. So thinking of, okay, this is done. Now we need to figure out how to not repeat that and move on from it is best. So try not to dwell too much on mistake or failures, or don't let it bring you down too much because life will keep happening. Many other failures will come and it will push you to force you to grow no matter what. So it's all part of the process. And then number five is to continue investing in skill and development. So this is one that because me, I enjoy learning. I'm rarely bored because I'm either maybe learning something, listening to a podcast or a YouTube video or an online course because I enjoy those things. But then these days I work a lot, so I'm exhausted as well. So saying I want to go and start writing certification exam it's just too much. But it's something that is very important because when you're in your role doing your work, you also need those certificates to serve as proof because we live in a world whereby certifications from certain organizations are still seen as like like they seem rank high on your credibility. So working to get not just certificates, but a type of thing that would make you be like, okay, other people be like, yes, this person definitely does have that skill. It's a good plus. And not just certs. Think of always like, okay, invest to grow in yourself besides or outside the company for your own self because yeah, I'm sure everyone has their own plan and where they're going to. So just having that going on for you. So even if you lose your job tomorrow, you would not be in a place where you feel like, okay, where else would take me or where am I doing next? Because if you keep on building on yourself, you feel confident that you have things to apply to start your own thing or find opportunities somewhere else in due time. So yes, so I believe these are my 5 tips on navigating career success after securing a job. It might not be specific to Korea, it might just have been very generic, but these are things that I thought are important. And also, I wanted to talk a little bit on the Korean language. I know a lot of people are like, okay, without the language, it will be difficult. And that is kind of true. I speak the language, so it's been what you call it, a huge plus for me working. But I have colleagues who do not speak Korean at all, and they are still in the company. So it means that even without the language, you can be able to secure a job. It might not be the easiest, and also depending on the role, because I think IT Korea is a very like there's a lot of IT roles that's there. So maybe that's why those who are in that field are able to secure jobs without speaking the language. But I also believe that there are other roles whereby you can find something and be able to make it without necessarily speaking Korean. But it's still important if you're interested in learning, I would definitely advise to learn the language, but don't see it as an obstacle that is completely stopping you from getting a job here. And I think my time is done. Maybe I have 1 more minute left, so I'll move on to the last slide. And yeah, so this is my conclusion, just to wrap up everything that I have said. Basically, as you move forward in your career journey in Korea, remember that success isn't a destination, it's a continuous process of learning, adapting, and growing. So be bold in taking ownership of your work, open to absorbing knowledge, and intentional in building meaningful connections with people you work with. And also, the path to success is not always easy linear progression. There's will be definitely bumps on the way, but with determination, self-belief, and a proactive mindset, you can carve out a fulfilling and impactful career for yourself. So, believing in your potential, embracing opportunities ahead, and make your mark. So, thank you, and here's continuous success. Or here's to your continuous success. So, yeah, this brings me to the end of my presentation. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much, Ms. Husseina. We are so grateful for sharing your insight and experience with us. I believe we've learned a lot, and thank you for that beautiful presentation, actually.
Thank you. You're welcome.
We really appreciate it. I believe a lot of people have questions for you, but for now, we'll hold on to that. So after the next speaker, then we combine all the questions together. I believe you'll still be online for us to engage with you as well.
Yes.
But thank
Yes.
you so much. We really appreciate it, and we really liked your presentation.
Thank
Awesome.
you. I am glad.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Our numbers keeps growing. We currently have 47 participants with us. For the record's sake, for the archives, we would like to take a group photograph. As I said earlier, if you're in a comfortable position, we would appreciate it if you switch on your video just for a few minutes as we take our video, our screenshots. We'll be grateful for that. Yes, please. We want to do that within just a minute. We would appreciate that. Okay, I can see others putting on their videos. Wonderful.
Shouldn't you end the presentation?
Come again, sir?
Or the group picture, shouldn't you end
the presentation, the slides? Like stop sharing.
Okay. All right, sure. Thank you. All right, I get you. Just a moment. Okay. All right. All right. So I can see a lot of people sharing their videos. We are really appreciate it. So we'll just do that in just a minute. Okay. Just give me a minute. All right. Let me share my screen now. That's it, right? All right. I can see Brother Emmanuel, two Emmanuel, Dr. Saki. All right. Wonderful. And the others. All right, please, let's put on a smile. I know we are eagerly trying to enter into the holiday. Let's do what to do there. Give us a smile so that, just for the record, I can see Emmanuel with a big smile. All the two Emmanuel with a big smile. All right. Thank you. Okay. I can see. Wonderful. Great. Thank you so much. We'll continue with the program. Our next speaker, just a moment. Our next speaker is the person of Professor. Just a moment. Okay. Professor Duke Fahene Ofosu Enin. Professor Duke is, has over 16 years of working experience in research, also research, management, and education. Currently, he's an assistant professor of leadership in Yomyang Graduate University, and also the chief advisor of Maji Advisory, a firm that researches on and advises international students in South Korea. I would like to welcome our second speaker, as he takes us through career growth in Korea. Sir, you have the platform.
Okay. Can you hear me loud and clear?
Yes, please. You are audible,
Yes,
sir.
we can.
Yeah. Johnson, thank you for the introduction. Just a little bit of correction. I'm assistant professor, so technically I'm still doctor.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
Yeah. So just a little bit of correction. Technically I'm still doctor. I haven't um, gotten to professor yet. So
Okay. Thank you so much for
so let's get that correction in the future. Yeah. I would like to share my screen if you will let me. Yeah,
sure.
that's more suitable. Okay, so okay. All right. Is it okay now,
Yes, please.
Johnson? It's fine.
It's fine.
All right. So I really enjoyed my sister's presentation, and I'm glad that mine is going to take a different it's gonna be slightly different from what she did, so that our audience would have a different taste, best of both worlds, if you like. So thank you very much once again for the opportunity. I have 25 minutes, right? So I will try and work within the time. I think it's 20 minutes now. 5 minutes elapsed already. All right, so I'm going to talk about career growth in Korea, but I'm going to focus on the perspective of, the practicality of it. It's not going to be based on my personal experiences, but it's going to be based on what others have approached me and asked me to help them to do, vis-a-vis Korean companies and so on, and consulting firms and so on and so forth. Right. So as we know, normally when we come to Korea, we come with D2 or D4 visas, and then we move to D10 when we graduate. Those of us who are allowed to stay after we just a minute. Yeah, the secretary has raised the light on my face is not, the lighting in the room is poor. I'm sorry. I had to run away from my son and go and hide somewhere to do this. It wouldn't have been possible if I'd sat in the open space. So I promise to maybe buy some lighting for the purposes of these things in the future. My apologies. But if you can hear my voice, I promise I'm here. So uh, let's go on. Joy, my apologies. So from D10 to E7 or D9 or D8, and then if you're fortunate, you can move to F2 and then F5. Of course, there are those who are able to move from D2 to F2 straight, even though they never had a job. There are some conditions that you can meet. If you can meet, you can do that. And then, but the biggest jump is from D10 to E7 or D9. These days, there's D8 and D9 that give opportunity for us to stay here and do business, for instance. So we're going to talk about some of these things, and then I'll top it up with what others have told me and what opportunities that are available. And then, those who will be interested can contact me, and then we can pursue that. So we know the D10 visa, we know the D2 visa, and the D4 visa, so I'm not going to spend too much time on it. And we also know the E7 visa, four categories of E7. But the most important thing here is that when you finish school and you're looking for a job, it's pretty hard, as Husseina pointed out. But an agency contacted me and they were like, okay, so if you know people who have backgrounds in engineering and the sciences and have finished school D2 in South Korea, we can find them jobs. So I am not going to talk too much about the E7 visa. All I'm going to say is that it's a visa that is allows you to work under a company's sponsorship. And those who may be interested in staying here and working, if you contact me on WhatsApp, my number is on the screen. You can write it down. If you contact me on WhatsApp, just about 4 or 5 days ago, I had this meeting, and there is opportunity for you to change from D2 to from D10, or if you just finish your D2, there is an opportunity for you to move to E7. So if you are interested, you can contact me. And then there are benefits, but for the E7 visa, but the most important thing is that the job you're getting should match the studies you did usually. And this agency does it for people and they are willing to do it for you. It's not me, it's a Korean agency, just to put it in perspective. But then again, it's not everybody who, like Husseina's case, there are people who are actually able to get a E7 visa, through dint of hard work. And when I came to South Korea, I didn't come here on scholarship. So I had to work in the, do menial jobs to survive, for all the 3 years I was doing my PhD in South Korea. There was no scholarship at all. So I had to do it myself. And what I realized is that I had a very good relationship with my Sajang name. And when I finished school, he was like, "Dude, do you want to work with me?" But I had already gotten an opportunity at the university to be a researcher, so I turned it down. But so what I tell my students who are not on scholarship, and especially those in social sciences, where most of them are not on scholarship, is that if you get to do a job somewhere, create a good relationship with the boss. Try and get a work permit whilst you're a student. And when you graduate, maybe, just maybe, they might be willing to take you on. A classical example is Nano Setutu. Normally, I think he's here with us today. He was able to change his visa from from D2 to E7. And it's possible. He had a good relationship with Sajang Nim when he graduated. He was a student working Arabite in a company. And when he graduated, the Sajang Nim gave him a contract. The good thing about this is you may not like the work you're doing with your Sajang Nim, but if you are able to work for a year and get a pay slip, then for visas like F27, if you have a pay slip, then you have, depending on your income, you have additional 30 or 40 points. And that greatly boosts your chances of moving from E7 to F2. And the moment you have your F2 visa, then you can choose to leave and work wherever you want to work. And that is, so probably Nano Setutu now is working on, meeting the requirements for his F27 visa as we speak. Nana is in there somewhere in the group. And then there's also the D8 visa. But before I talk about the D8 visa, there's the D91 visa. This visa is also a bit straightforward. It's a trading visa, those who are interested in buying and selling. You don't have to do all of those training and all of those oasis thing if you have a trade related degree like international trade or logistics or something of the sort, management and so on and so forth, or economics like Husseina. But I know Husseina doesn't need this degree, this this visa. So if you don't have, if you have, even if you don't have these trade degrees, you just do a 3-day online course, and then you can get the D91 visa, which you renew every year. And if you get enough money through trade, you can change to F2 or F5. And again, the same agency, an interested person acquiring the E7 or the D9, the same agency I mentioned also does the E9 for D2 and D10 visa holders. So if you are interested, I can connect you to this agency for the E7 and the D9-1. And then, of course, there is the Oasis visa, which you can look into, which is also an amazing opportunity for those who want to do business or register companies or corporations in South Korea. The difference between the D9-1 and the D8-4 is that for the D9-1, it's just buying and selling. A visa that allows you to go to Yongsan and buy used phones and export to Africa, or buy electronic devices, or buy new things, depending on your income, buy cosmetics, whatever you want to do. And it's very easy to get if you can get an agent to help you to do it, or you can try yourself. Some people are like, very fluent in Korean and can do it themselves. And so you can try yourself. And then there is the D8-4 visa, which you are also aware of. Of course, this visa, the F27 visa, I am a bit, it hurts me sometimes when I speak to some people who have already left Korea or have gone for G1, and actually they qualify for F27. But a lot of us, we are always, especially those of us from West Africa, Ghana specifically, we are always the last to hear, to learn things. For instance, somebody argued with me for like days that they cannot get F27 visa if they don't have a job. And I'm like, if you have 80 points, if you check the points and it's up to 80, you can get a job. You can get F27. Then you can take your time and then look for a job. So it took a while, but eventually they did it and they got it. And so that is also a thing, especially for those who came to Korea and attended very good universities, like those who attended universities that are in the QS 500, like Chungang or Sky or Sungkungwan or any of those QS 500 universities. And those of you who also came with GKS scholarships and have the certificate of completion. And normally those people also did TOPIK. And so even though your TOPIK may have expired by the time you finish school, don't wait for it to expire. Write it again, renew it, and make sure it is valid by the time you graduate. So if you're a master degree holder and you are under 40 years and you attended any of these universities and you had GKS scholarship, which many people in the Ghaska group have this, you can get your F27 visa, and the F2 visa is resident visa, and you don't need to have a job or a tax certificate at the end of the year to get this. And also doctoral degree holders from these QS 500 universities who have TOPIK 3 and above and have a GKS certificate and so on and so forth can also get it. If you feel, you can look it up. If you are not so sure, you can text me. You can text me, you can text Beer. I am not charging you any money for this. You and I can go through it together and we can test to see. Even if you are still a student and you feel that 2 years from now or a year from now, you may qualify or you may finish school and you may want to stay here and look for a job, because all the things that, the beautiful things that Husseina was saying, they are only true for people who have valid visas to look for a job. And so if you don't have a visa here, all of those opportunities are not available to you. And Hussein also said something very instrumental, that there were so many jobs she found that she could do and she liked, but she couldn't get them because they were not willing to sponsor her visa. If you have an F2 visa, you don't need anybody to sponsor you. You can work anywhere as long as they are willing to hire you. And so I advise that those of you who came here with GKS scholarship, have done TOPIK and have TOPIK 3 and are doing masters or PhD, please, 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 if you want to stay, start looking at this visa critically. And of course, there's also and you can get 1 year if your point is between 80 and 99. You can get 100, 1 to 3 years if your point is between 100 and 129, and if it's above 130. You can get 3 to 5 years. And after this, you can move to permanent residency directly. And then, the sky is the limit for you based on what you want to do in South Korea. So, those of you who don't know about this visa, look at it, especially for those who want to stay here, look at it and benefit from it. Of course, there's also the F27S visa that is, for those who attended universities with names ending with science and technology like KAIST and UNIST and the others. I've seen people who finish D2 and go for permanent residency F5 straight from KAIST and UNIST and DGIST and GIST and UST and so on and so forth, from D2 to F5, especially when you have the GKS scholarship. I think there's a straight route to get permanent residency straight after you complete school. Whether you are planning to stay in Korea, whether you're planning to go to America or wherever you want to do, or whatever job you want to do, the stability. And the reason why I'm focusing so much on visa is that none of these things will be possible if after your D2 you've run out of visa. Searching for a job, and it takes time. It takes about a year or more. If you don't have a visa, stable visa, and I'm not talking about D10, you cannot be seriously be looking for a job. And that's why, and unlike my students, most of whom don't have visa, most of whom don't have scholarships, the people that are in the Ghaska group, I could see most of you came with some form of scholarship. Most of you have to do some topic before you start school and all of these. And most of you go to very good universities. And most of these are very, very, very good reasons why you have a very good chance at having, and some people qualify, but they don't know, and they live here unwillingly, even though they qualify to move to some of these very good and stable visas that give them the time to do whatever it is that they want to do in South Korea. So another thing that I also realized with us is that whenever you speak to any Ghanaian about why they can't move forward because they've run out of visa or they're struggling, they say that someone said. There's only one someone that you should take serious, and that someone is at 1345. Okay. The only someone you should take serious as far as your visa in Korea is concerned, that someone is at 1345. If you don't understand anything, if you want to verify, do not ask, because everybody has a different situation and a different destiny. Call 1345, the immigration hotline, and ask your questions and let them give you the answers and work with those answers. Another thing is I'm also working with Biali to get volunteering for people to do volunteering work. So there are these senior citizens canteens and places where we provide volunteering, and it all goes to add on points for your visa, especially if you're looking to the F27 visa. So if it's something you are interested in, you can contact me. It's volunteering, so we don't pay money for it, and it goes to the Gyeonggi government. And then finally, the importance of the Korean language cannot be underscored. I started learning Korean 2 years ago. I've been here for almost 8 years. I started learning Korean 2 years ago, and with the little I know, it's opening doors, and whatever door I enter, the people keep telling me, if you knew a little bit more Korean, there would have been more opportunities. If you knew a little bit more Korean, there would have been more opportunities. So if you plan on staying here, then it doesn't make any sense that you are unwilling to learn the language. So whether you are in a lab or you are, yeah. So at the end of the day, I would like to end here. there are three things I'd like you to take home. The first one is the D91 visa. If you are interested in trading, it's very easy to get. You can easily get it. The E7 visa, if you want someone to hire you and you cannot find a job yourself, there are agencies that are willing to help. And then most importantly, the F27 and the F27S visas, which most of you probably with a little bit of push qualify for. So look into it, and I can give you free advice or free whatever you need, and call 1345 if you're not sure what I tell you or what anybody's telling you. Thank you very much. This will I'll end.
Thank you very much, Doc. I hope this time around we got a title. Thank you so much for the eye opener and revealing to us certain information that most of us are not privy to. As you said, in Korea here, it seems West African countries are usually the last to get the information. We hope the narrative changes though. But thank you so much for this presentation. We really appreciate it. Thank you so much for throwing more light on the F27 visa. I believe you've shared your contact with everyone, so you should be expecting a lot of messages within this week
Mhm.
and during the holidays. We believe that we'll use the holidays to have more time to spend with you.
Okay.
So there are, yeah. So thank you so much. We now move to the question, the interactive and then question and answer segment. And there are a few questions here that we would like to be addressed. We would like for it to be addressed. The first, so if you have a question, please, you can also make a reaction on the Zoom platform so that I'll call based on first come, first served basis. But in the meantime, let's begin with those that have sent their question here. Great presentation. I think this goes to Miss Husseina. The person would be glad if you could share some of the links and websites for job search navigations. If that
Okay.
is possible,
Yes,
you can
that.
share with.
So should I share it in the chat or because I have a list, so I'll just drop it in the chat. I just did.
All right, good. Yeah, and also I think you can also share with the Ghaska executives so that they can also like formally share it on the Ghaska platform as well.
Okay. All right then.
We also would like to welcome, thank you so much.
Mhm.
Also would like to welcome all the other nationals that have joined us. We believe it's not only Ghanaians that are on this platform, on this program. We'd like to also appreciate you for being part of this program. So the next question, I believe, would go to Dr. Duke. Person would like to know how he or she can check his or her immigration points. And I believe you can add this one to it as well. You can also add this one to it as well. How do you check your visa points? I think it's also in relation to that question. Dr. Duke, if you'll be kind enough to share that with us. I think you touched on that during your presentation.
Yeah. So for the F27, right?
I think immigration point, I believe so.
Yeah. Okay. So the only one that I talked. Okay. So the D9 one has points, but it's not the most important visa we're talking about right now. So the F27 is the one that I am very keen on because most of us already qualify and you don't need anybody to help you to do it. You can do it by yourself because it's not very technical. It is technical, but you can do it yourself. So so the points can be checked. If you call 1345, you tell them your story, they can tell you your points. That's number one. Number two, you can ask ChatGPT. My name is Susan So. I want to find out my points with F27 visa, Korea. They will ask you, they'll create a sheet of items and you fill it up and then it can tell you whether you qualify or not. And you can also go to visakorea.com, which is a Korean agency. I use it all the time. I don't know who they are, but they also have a very detailed explanation of what the points are, and you can easily check and know what your points are. But like I said, anybody who has a master's degree, especially from the engineering or the science field, GKS, and is less than 40 years has done topic 3, topic 4 before, is almost there. So everybody who is in that category should look into it.
Okay. Thank you so much. I believe that question is answered. We'll move to the next one. That is from. So we have someone, brother, Mr. Brandon Elvis Anuka. You have your hands raised, please. You can go ahead and ask your question.
Okay, good evening, all.
Right.
Thank you for this opportunity to be part of this discussion. It's very insightful from our lady friend and then also my doctor friend. Basically, I want to put across my question as a novice, like somebody who's just been in Korea for not more than 6 months. And I'm under the Quaker Scholarship, undertaking a master's degree program in digital innovation from Erica Campus, Hainan.
Mhm.
So what I need to find out from you guys is that, well, we are just here for, let's say, just 17 months. But after looking at the place, I wish to stay afterwards. So what I just want to find out is that I'm not proficient in the Korean language. That's first. My visa is just for study. And then also, I work with the government. So after I'm done, I would want to come back for my PhD, but I also have to serve with the government for 4 years. So this is just what I want to put on the table and see what advice you can give to me. Thank you.
Hussein, you go first.
Please come again.
I was asking whether Husseina will go first or she wants me to go first.
Yeah, you can go ahead. I think this is more in your
Right. So I think with Quaker Scholarship, you have to go back home, right?
Yes, please. We have to go back home and
Okay.
serve with the government for some years.
Okay, so I met some Rwandans in Korea who were on D10, and I spoke to them, and they were like, okay, we came to Korea on Quaker, but when we finished Quaker, we had to go back home. But guess what? We did KIP and we completed KIP before we left. So when we finished, we went back to the Korean embassy and applied for D10, and they gave us the visa. So we are here on D10.
Please. What do you mean by KIP?
Okay, so it's a test. It's a test that is organized by the Korean government, where as a student on scholarship, do you go to school every day?
Yes, please. But we're on vacation now. No, not every day,
You go
because
to
our,
school
our
on
class normally ends
Saturdays.
on Friday.
You go to school on
Fridays. It ends
Saturdays.
on. No, we don't have a class on Friday to Sunday. So go
All
to
right.
school on Monday.
So you can register for KI if you want to come back here. This is my advice. Register for KIP 0, okay?
Okay. Okay.
And then work your way to wherever you will get to before you leave this country.
Okay, please. Okay, please.
Then when you leave and you don't even come back for scholarship, then you have a case at the embassy applying for D10 to go and look for a job in Korea. Because guess what? You have demonstrated you can live in Korea because you have language skills. Because the Rwandans did it and came. So it's done. It's doable. Okay.
Okay.
So
Okay, sir.
based on that, you can add whatever personal ambitions you have, whether you want to come back here to do your PhD or but the language, how many years do you have left to complete?
Please, we're leaving here in December. We need to leave on December 21st.
Wow. Okay. All right. So in that case, the KIP 0 class is already registered and gone. So in
Okay.
that case, you can only do, yeah, probably you should come back with a PhD and then do things differently. And by differently, I mean build up points with the KIP.
Okay. All right.
The
All right.
PhD, what's your field?
Digital innovation, sir.
Yeah.
But I
So
already have a master's in human resource management and development, an
right.
MPhil.
That's something Korea likes, the digital innovation thing. Korea likes
Right.
it. So if you do it and you can do KIP2 the next time you come, because now we start looking for a new visa when we're running out of the best time
Yeah.
for the visa is when we don't need it at all.
Right. Right.
Yeah, so I think we were running out of time now in terms of
Yeah.
coming back with a D10 because you have Korean language skills.
Right. Right. Okay. Thank you very much.
Yes.
Miss Hussein, would you like to follow up, or I think that's good?
No, I think Dr. Duke gave a great response, and I don't have anything else to add to that. Wishing you
All right,
all,
thank you.
yeah.
All right, thanks so much. Someone was also asking, how is the family life or professional working in South Korea, especially Africans? And also, are there very good prospects for our kids?
Mm.
I think this from a married person. Dr. Duke, I think.
Zaina, no children yet? Okay. So
So,
I have a son, and well, the prospects for the education is free up until they finish high school, but you must be willing to allow your child to have Korean as their first language if you want to have a comfortable life in Korea. Because Yongsan International School, the tuition fee is $39,000 a year. So unless you have $39,000 a year to take your child to an international school, you will take them to an English Saito. Most of the English schools that are cheap are Saito. If you want good quality education for your child here, you must be willing to let them go to a Korean school and speak Korean, which means that you, the father or the mother, must also be willing to learn the language and match your child when they come back from school and they're talking to you. Then you teach them English as a second language. If you don't want them to go to university in Korea, then you let them write SAT. Then they can go to America or whatever to do their degrees, and then you can save towards it and then pay for it or whatever. Or go take them back to Ghana or whatever. But at the end of the day, teaching them English and the local language, whatever it is for you, is your responsibility. If you're not willing to do that, then it's going to be very difficult for you. At the end of the day, you cannot live here comfortably if you're avoiding the language. You cannot be happy here if you're avoiding the language. I haven't met anybody who has fully integrated in Korea and has successfully avoided the language. So it goes, that's it. Let them go to school, learn the language with them, register for KIP 0, and then by the time they are 10 years, you can match them boot for boot. And then you teach them English as a second language.
Okay, thank you so much, Doc, for your response. I believe we'll move to the last part one question, which says that thanks for the presentation, Doc. My question is about my question is how about persons who studied in Korea up, up to PhD levels and immediately exited Korea without accessing the D10 opportunity. Is there an opportunity to avail the D10 while outside Korea or direct employment while outside Korea? Please share your
Ah,
understanding.
okay. So, I don't know yet. What is the area of study? Because um, if I tell the agency that there is an exceptional guy with a PhD in a very exceptional field, but he's in Ghana, the question is, are there people with similar PhDs already in Korea from Nigeria, Ghana, Zimbabwe, and so on and so forth? So it's already a very competitive field. So the only way for you to convince any consul officer that you can integrate into the society is a demonstration that you have an ability to integrate, aka language skills. We already have the degree, great, but of course there has also been many cases of people with PhDs coming from Malaysia. I have a church colleague who came from Malaysia, and he's now a professor at Hanyang University. So it's not impossible. So if I know what the area of PhD is, if they can contact me, I can ask the agency, and if they can find a postdoc position. People leave, of course, people leave and come back and do postdoc all the time in Korea. So it's not an impossibility, but then your chances are slimmer because in the labs are people with your PhD who just graduated and are sitting in the next room waiting to be hired. So I'm not going to say no. Let him contact me. Let me ask the agency and see whether they can help him find a job. If he has language skills, he can try applying for a D10 visa at the Ghana embassy. I mean, the Korean embassy in Ghana to see whether he job seeking visa and see whether they will give it to him.
Okay. Thank you so much. Thanks so much for your response as well. Okay, it's not time for us to. Sorry, we cannot take more questions. Maybe if we have enough time during the session, we would like to do that. But there's a recommendation from Michelle. She says, I believe it's a she. I registered for the KIP program. The first class started today and will end on 2nd of February. The next cohort will be announced after the current class ends. For those who are interested, we can keep in touch and we'll send the link once they have opened the portal. So I believe those who are interested in the KIP can send a private message to Michelle so that she can share more insights. Or better still, Michelle can share the link on the platform. Thank you so much, Ms. Husseina and Dr. Duke, for your presentation. I hope you still be online as we continue with the program. We have close to less than 40 minutes for us to finish. We have other exciting lineup for us now. Next on the list, we have our very own Dr. Solomon Saki, who will be sharing with us his success story here in Korea. So Solomon Saki happens to be a manager. Dr. Solomon Saki happens to be a manager in Yongjin Construction Company. I believe we can also learn and then be inspired or better to create connections. Dr. Saki, you have less than 30 minutes. I hope you'll be able to make this time. Please, you have the floor. Thank you.
Right. Hope Profi can hear me. Yeah. So good evening to everyone. Good evening. Johnson, the moderator.
Hello, Doc.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yeah, but I think there's a bit of noise at the background. I don't know if you're using two devices, but there's a bit of noise.
No, I'm only using my tablet. Is it okay? Is it okay now?
It's better now. It's better.
Okay.
Thank you. Please, you can carry on.
All right. Okay. I think I have about 15 minutes, right? Roughly.
Or 12 minutes, roughly. 12 minutes.
But we have taken some of my time. Okay. Anyway.
Sorry about that.
Anyway, good evening to you once again. Actually, I know many other people may have some story, some success story to tell, but I'm just choosing just to give my success story. So mine is going to be a little bit different from what our sister Hussein and then my colleague Dr. Duke have presented. For now, it's just a story. Actually, what I would say is that I'm in Korea, so I'll reference Korea. So in Korea, for instance, I would say that if you're a master student or a PhD student here, your success depends on having a good professor, having a good rapport with the professor. Because of the experience that I have, and because of the experience that I've also heard from other guys, I would say that your success in Korea here depends on you having a good relationship with the professor. And as Hussein, our sister Hussein, and then my colleague Dr. Duke have mentioned, Korean language is one of the most important things that we have to take it seriously, because we are living in Korea. This is where we are, and we have to be able to integrate with them. We have to be able to learn their language if we want to if you want to get job here. I remember when I did my undergrad and my master's all in Turkey after that. So after that, I think I made an application to Yonsei and I didn't get the admission. They wrote me that we are sorry. We need, I mean, they had to just take some limited students. Then I don't know how I found a big national university in Daegu here. But when I contacted the department, I mean, I was lucky. I mean, lucky enough for me, I was given the professor to contact. So I contacted the professor. But what I was told, that the professor said he wasn't good in English. So he was actually ready to offer me admission scholarship. However, I have to, if I was ready to take up a Korean class. So I asked myself, so what was I going to do? And I have to pay that myself because they have not taken me by then. So, well, okay. I said, okay, let me just take the opportunity. I don't know. So I did. So in March 2016, that was when I came to Korea. So the first 6 months, I spent the first 6 months at the language school. Then in September, that was when I started my PhD. But lucky for me, my professor, seeing my progress in my Korean language, even when I was doing my Korean language, he still put me on the lab project. So he was giving me something, I think about 500,000 or so. Then, whilst I was doing my Korean language, so I think, and I was making progress, and he was impressed. So, but it wasn't easy. It wasn't easy initially because anytime I want to go to my professor, I would just stand at the door and just pray, God, please help me. Help me. I don't know what I'm going to speak to this professor because he wasn't quite good in English. So you have to speak Korean. So I did, but actually, I said, okay, good. So I'll just take a very heavy sigh. I'll just breathe in. Okay, I'm going to speak Korean. Then it wasn't good, actually. But I think gradually, and my lab mates, they were all speaking the Korean, even though few of them knew English, but they didn't want to speak the English. So I had to learn. So I would say that I learned most of my Korean from my lab mates. Then I think when I graduated, I think before my professor, because the guys were, I was only foreigner then. So then he never had anybody who published any or who had any publication, any international publication. Oh, is it gone? Is my screen gone?
No,
No,
you're
we
on.
can
You're
hear
still
you.
on.
We can see you as well. It's
So,
okay.
Okay, so yeah, so by then he had no any international paper, but I think in my first year, I think I was able to publish some paper. Second year I did, and then lucky enough for me, I also published in one of the top journals, because that's the American Association of Civil Engineers journal. So at that time, I think my professor was impressed with my output and my research work. So he allowed me, and then there was a good rapport between my professor and I. And then, so when I got, so no, because I spent 6 months before my PhD, so he made me graduate. I did my actually I did my program in 2.5 years because I graduated in 2019 June. I started in September 2016, and then I graduated in 2019 June. And that was July. That was June. And June, I graduated in June. And then I started work. So, but I think I started work in July. But before then, I think one of the panels wanted me to be at his lab. Well, that was about robotics equipment also and construction equipment also. But my professor then said, no, I want you to be in the industry. That's where maybe you can get more money. So I tried. And then, because Korea, professors are the most, if one of the most, if not the most respected people in Korea. So when they give a recommendation, my brothers and sisters, it is the final. So after my graduation, that was after I completed in July 2019, he got me a job in one of the biggest engineering firms. It was in Central Seoul, in Sompa. Those in Seoul, in Sompa. It was engineering about 1,003 employees also there. So that was where I started my my career in the Munyon Engineering and Construction Company. So I actually even started my career before coming back in August to do my graduation. And through that, it wasn't quite easy, especially because especially when you are a PhD student. This Korean, they expect a lot from you when you're a PhD student. And what I will also say is that I think those in engineering and IT, as Hussein, our sister Hussein mentioned, because she's in IT, but it's a bit maybe easy to get jobs in IT and then maybe engineering. But I think, for me, I think it is not like that. It depends. Like as I mentioned earlier, it depends on who you are. It depends on your skills. So if you're a master student, if you're a PhD student, what I would say is that please just learn extra skills. Learn, especially these days that we have these AI stuff. Everything now we have everything. We are incorporating AI into it. Whether you're in human resource or something, now you need to learn AI. And these ones are skills. It's not like the IT people that only softwares. They use a computer, so it is a bit easy for them. But those in the other discipline, please, I will urge you, just learn. Take those what you call it in Coursera or in Udemy or in other place. Just pay some few dollars. Just learn some extra skills because this is going to help you. Because these Koreans, they think that especially when you have, especially with a PhD student, they expect a lot from you. And especially if you don't meet any good manager, if you don't meet any your boss who is not that good, who doesn't like me before, it's going to frustrate you. And that was what I experienced in my first year at Munyon, and that engineering company, because my boss then was very harsh. Really, really, I know, you can't get everybody, you can't get every Korean to be good to you. You just have to endure. But I think I wasn't ready to endure to that. So I just called my professor. I explained to my professor. Then my professor said, "Okay, so do you want me to change for you?" I said, "Yes, professor." My professor I was there when I just got a call. And this, like I said, if you have a good relationship with your professor, if you have a good rapport with your professor will always be ready to help you. They will always give a recommendation. You go for interview, the interview is just a formality. So when the company called me, I went for the interview, but it was just a formality. So I went there and then I got my second. And my second company too, I think when I started, I didn't like how it was going. Then again, I called my professor. I think this company are not into what I want to do. So then he said, so do you want me to change for you? I said, yes, professor. Then he changed for me. That one also, it was in Seoul. But then my wife, because in Seoul, I think when we were living in Sonam, and they were only, I think we were the only foreigners there. So that time my wife was pregnant then, so she wanted, and because I graduated from Daegu, so she wanted to be in Daegu. But lucky for me, I think they were able to post me to Daegu because the headquarters in Daegu rather, and then the what do you call it, the branch of it in Seoul. So that was so my second company also, like I said, when I didn't like what I was doing, they changed for me. But the third one, then my professor said, you have only two chances. If after this one, I'm not going to change for you. You have to endure. I said, okay, professor. So when I got this is where I really like, because this is where I wanted to. I was given what I wanted to do. But I think that my own skills actually helped me because as a PhD student, because sometimes you might not even begin because PhD student or if you're a PhD student, you might not be working or if you're in that you find yourself in the industries, you might not be working on what you learn at school. You might not be if you're not lucky. You might not be. So and this is why you need those skills. This is why you need those skills. So if you're an engineering firm, if you're in engineering or in other research, those agri you need a lot of skills. You need to have additional skills, and that additional skills is going to help you. So when I started here at Yongjin, lucky I was put at the overseas business team, because they wanted me to head the team to be there. So that I think since because I've been working since 2019 actually. So since I started the Yongjin here in Daegu, in Seoul, and then I came to Daegu. Since 2021, And when I started, I think after 6 months or so, I was made a permanent employee. And so through that, so when I got the permanent employee, because they wanted me to work for the company, so they made me a permanent employee. And I think it's good if you are lucky to have this employment employee, but there are a lot of benefits to that. Yeah, there are a lot of benefits really. And I think so with that, after 6 months or so, I got my PR, permanent resident. And I think those time, like 3-4 years ago, that was when I got my I think I got my permanent residence approval in 2 weeks. 2 weeks or so. And that time, but I think for now, I think so for those who are already working, if you are, but now I think the GNI is a little bit high because Korea, because if you want to apply for PR, they use the GR. You have to print your what do you call it, your statement from the tax office, your tax certificate actually from the tax office. But now I think they increase it to about 42, is it 42.5, right? 42 or 43 million. So you need this. So meaning that you need to be paid about 3.5 million or so before you can qualify for the PR. So for those already working, if you are getting any good salary, I think you can apply. You can apply. Then don't just be asking, like Dr. Dutz said, don't be just saying, oh, this is what they say, this is what they say. No, you can just call 1345. You have this, you are working, you are doing just turn in your application. Only if for now, what I know is about 42 million annually. Your annual salary should be 42 million.
44.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, thank you, Doc. Okay. Because it was every year they change it. So about 44 million. So it's not easy these days for some of the guys. Because if it is 44, that means that roughly, I don't know, I mean you need about 3.5, 3.6, right, Doc? You need about 3.6, 3.7 million that way. Yeah, to be able to. So there are some people who want to apply, but I think they cannot qualify. I mean, they don't qualify for that. So actually, 3-4 years ago, I think it was just about 36 million or so, about 3-4 years ago, about 36 million or so. But what I still want to say is that if you are getting a good salary, you can negotiate, even because you want to apply for the PR, you can negotiate with your company, but it only depends on your output, and because you have to do your best. And when I started mine initially, that as I've told you, in my first year at that million company, it wasn't that easy because sometimes some of your boss, I mean, your boss, you wouldn't allow you to do what you want, and they expect a lot from you also. And the Korean language also, every time you have to prepare a report in Korean, you have to do this one in Korean, you have to do this one. The communication, everything was in Korean. And sometimes I hear some people complaining that Korean is this, Korean is difficult, Korean this one. But I think I don't agree with them. I still think that this is what you want to do. You want to live in Korea. Oh yes, look, some people just go, oh, Korea the idiom, Korea this, everything is Korean language. But my brother, this is where you want to live. Not success doesn't come easily. You can never get it on a silver platter. I told you in my case, I have to learn Korean. I have to pay for Korean language. I have to learn Korean for about 6 months. But look at what it resulted. Look at what it has brought me. So learning the language, except you don't have interest, it is only those who don't have interest in the language. If you don't have any interest in the language, you cannot learn it well. So just stop saying that Korean is difficult. Because what about those in Germany, those in France, those in Belgium, those in other countries? Is it English? Are they using English there? They are not. You understand? But so what is? But they are all doing it. But they are there. They are also making it. But they have to learn the language. They also have to learn the language. In Germany, if you want to get their paper, also you have to learn the language. So it's the same like Korea. But I don't understand why some of our guys complain about Korea because because they don't want to learn the language. You want to be successful, but you don't want to put in an effort. You have to. And I'm telling you that because our success story is to motivate you guys. Seeing Dr. Duki or seeing me maybe give my story doesn't mean that maybe I'm better than you. But no. But as I mentioned, I have to put in extra effort myself. Because it's not everything that you learn from your PhD. I'm not from IT that I have to be doing computer. No. Sometimes you need to have your own skills. You need to learn more skills. You need to have those additional skills. But that is going to give you advantage. So being there, so here, but since my current job, since my current company in 2021, and because I'm in the overseas division, I travel a lot. In Africa, I think I've been to Congo, Rwanda, and then recently in Kenya, and then in Asia, including Laos, Vietnam. So I travel because I'm in the overseas team. So I travel. And if if a Korean, or let's say if a white person, if a Korean comes to understand you, knows your capabilities, they always put faith in you. And I tell you, even our company, there were sometimes we were even looking, they were looking for some people to employ. But they always said they'll be asking, can we get someone like you? I think there was even a time I think I got some CVs from some people also back. I mean, I think I put it to the some people sent me a message also. But what you see, because it's one category, like what they look for is that, oh, can this person speak Korean? It's the Korean because you are not, because they all don't speak English. So you have to, it's the Korean. Once you're able to express yourself, just learn. You don't need to learn maybe too much Korean. Just know how to communicate with them. If you're able to communicate with them, see, there are a lot of job opportunities in Korea. There are a lot of job opportunities. There are a lot of job opportunities. But because of the language barrier, we take that as a problem. That Korean is difficult, I can't learn. But because I'm telling you that if we're able to learn the Korean language, and if we are school, please just try to build that good relationship with the professor, because that is our success. For me, I know for me and to you guys, what I know is that our success depends on our relationship with our professor. Just do what the professor is asking. I know I have a friend, a Ghanaian friend. He barely had time for himself. He leaves lab. He leaves to lab in the morning. He goes home late in the night. But like me, his professor also helped him. Yes. So when I finished, when he graduated also, what do you call it, his professor also helped him to get a what do you call assistant professor to at the university. So what I would say, I think my time is up. So what I'll conclude by saying that our success stories, it should just motivate others. It's not that maybe we are better than you guys or you're better, no. But we are, or maybe we are where we are now because of the effort that we put in, and because we want to work in Korea. This is where you are living, so you have to put in much effort. And then I know that if you have a good relationship with your professor, your professor is definitely going to help you to get a job. And I can assure you that you are going to have a successful life in Korea. When you get a good job, when you get a good company, I'm sure you're going to get a good salary too as well. That's going to help you. So please let us just be saying, giving excuses like saying that this is just putting maybe extra effort, learn more skills, learn the language, and I know have a good relationship with our professors. And I know we are going to be successful if you want to be here in Korea. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Saki. We know you have a lot to share with us, but unfortunately the time is limited purposely for this program. But we are so grateful that you've been able to share, even with this limited time, summarize your success story with us. We are really grateful. I think you should write a memoir of your success story for right to serve as an inspiration for those who might not have physical contact with you to read, maybe for posterity's sake. Um, but you're grateful for sharing your evening time with us. Thank you so much. I believe the participants have also learned and then be inspired with your story. I received a text message that grace upon favor was showered upon you, coupled with your hard work. So from the three speakers, we've got to realize that I just want to take it from Miss Husseina. I nearly said Hussein. Miss Husseina. Husseina. I hope I'm pronouncing it right. Over we have to over communicate, and this would arise as a result of us being able to um, learn the Korean language. Learning the Korean language is a key, and I think this program is also serving as an inspiration and motivation for those who also want study the Korean language. And also having a good relationship with your sergeant or professor or supervisor also plays a very, very key role in in building or having a great career here in South Korea. We would like to quickly share next what do you call it? Just a moment. We would like to celebrate some Ghaska members who are equally, if not equally, doing wonderful things in South Korea. And these are just a few. So these are not all of them, but for the purposes of time, we decided to reach out, or these people reached out, and would like to share. So we have Miss Letitia Ase Adase, okay, who is a researcher at Current Technology. She's an alumnus of Aju University and also an entrepreneur as well. So because of time, pardon me if I go quickly. I run fast with this one. We also have our very own Mr. Richard Zeleri. Yes, he has quite a lot of portfolio here, but let me read a little. He's a CEO and an owner of Zenleri Group of Companies. And under Zenleri Group of Companies, we have Zenleri Investment, we have Ghana Korea Trading Company Limited, we have Zenleri Autos and Trading Enterprises, we have Ghana Korea TV, and also Africa Sema Old Forum. Brother Richard Zeleri, I think you're on the platform. You can give us a wave or say hi to us. Thank you so much. So in case I mention your name and you're here, please, you can turn on your video and say hi, provided you are in a very comfortable position to do so. We also have Dr. Della Kwam Dadago. He's also an alumnus of Hamburg University and Inha University. He's a research professor, 3D Convention Center and Department of Chemical Engineering at Inha University, Incheon. He's also the Chief Technical Officer. Oh, sorry, my slides. My apologies. Okay. Chief Technical Officer at CPEL Company Limited, Incheon. He's also the co-founder of Del King Tech Company Limited. He's also the CEO of Delifa Logistics, and there's someone in Korea. He's also the board member of EcoRu, which is an Incheon. He's a founding member of African Voices in Korea, which Ms. Husseina is also a founding. One of our speakers is also a founding member as well. He's also the executive member of African Youth Action Foundation. Wow. Dr. Della, if you're here, you can wave at us or say hi to us.
Okay, hello and good evening, everyone.
Okay, thank you, sir. Wonderful. Good to see you, Doc.
It's a pleasure, and let me say congratulations to my comrades Husseina and then Professor Duke for wonderful presentations today. We've really enjoyed. I have a couple of questions, but I think I would give them a back door. So kudos to guys, and thank you, MC and the Ghaska team.
Thank you very much, Doc. We also have. Okay, sorry. Someone was talking. Okay. We also have Mr. Ebenezer Wahinete. He's a third-tier technical support engineer at Money Torap Company Limited. Pardon me if I'm not able to.
Apologies, earlier on I was muted. Good evening to you all. This is Richard Zenleri. Good evening. Thank you, Ghaska.
Okay.
Thank you, and I'm enjoying the program. Thank you to you all. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And I think Mr. Ebenezer Boahinita is also on the line. He's also an alumnus of Beche de Hakio. Yeah. I hope I got the name right. If you're here, you can also say hi. We have Mr. Charles Mafu Iwa, who is radio frequency and coil. Okay, sorry, just a minute. Mr. Charles Mafu Iwa radio frequency call engineer at ETA Electronics Korea, also an alumnus of Harvard University. We have Miss, so in case I mention your name here, you can just turn on your video and say hi. Okay. Miss Ivy Selom Dode, she's also a support engineer at Ericsson Korea, Harvard University, alumnus. We have Miss Emanuela Edu. She's also a software engineer at Idea Concerts, also an alumnus of Harvard University. It seems we have a lot of Harvard University alumni here. We have Mr. Eleklem Afelete. I hope I'm sorry if I pronounce your name wrong. My sincere apologies. He's a quality assurance engineer and also a project manager. The nuclear services team, and then the Ghana Industrial Company Limited, which is Korea. He's also an alumnus of the King's University and also served as Ghaska Vice President in the 2021-2022 year administration. We have Dr. Ferdinand Kranting, who is a research scientist at the Life Science Department at Hanyang University, and also served as the Ghaska Treasurer in the 2017-2018 administration year. So these are a couple of people who we reached out to or reached out to us, and then we'll move on to as we celebrate the alumni, the Ghaska alumni. I'm prompted. Harrison is okay here. So these are people who are not currently in Korea, but studied in Korea, but having their career outside Korea. So we have Dr. Joel Ando, who's a research scientist and the secretary, Research Staff Association at CSIR, Forestry Division, or Forestry Research Institute of Ghana. We have Dr. Samuel Buete. He is a professional lecturer and associate program manager of accounting. I believe Ghanaians, we have a lot of industrial people. Manager of accounting, RMIT University, Vietnam. Oh, he also served as a Ghaska treasurer in the 2018-2019 year group. He's also an assistant. He was an assistant professor from 2016 to 2021 at Hanan University. All right. We have next on our list, engineer Professor Abdul Rahman Ahmed. I had to take my time to mention his name. Wow, that's a lot of certifications that he has to his name. He's an engineer and has all those certifications as well. No wonder he's the head of department at telecommunication engineering at KNUST. And he's also the GKS alumni president for the Ghana chapter. If you're here, you can also say, you can give a wave. I'm told Mr. Harrison Kosana is online. If you can say hi or give us a wave. The manager at Television Outside Broadcasting Unit, our very own GBC. Yes, if you're here, you can say hi. We also have Mr. Kinsley Kofi Boache. Okay. Senior Research Officer, Lead Facilitator, Smart Schools Project, and also the Coordinator for Model School Operationalization within the Ministry of Education, Ghana. And then she's also an alumnus or alumni of Korea National University of Education. And yes, we have our very own, last but not the least, Miss Lovia Afuakwa, who is a Principal Planning Analyst, the National Development Planning Commission, NDPC, I beg your pardon. And she's currently the president for Koika Alumni Association in Ghana. Ladies and gentlemen, I believe we've had a wonderful time here. I'm sorry, there are certain comments. Just permit me to read them if there are questions. Okay, those are. Okay, so this is for brother Mr. Zinleri. Someone says that he's a student at Youngnam and would like to know more about the Africa Semaul Forum. I think, and she goes by the name Michelle. She has actually provided a contact, so if it's possible to reach out to him, we'll be glad. Okay, we believe we've had an interactive session and we've been able to learn, be inspired. We've grown in terms of our perspective and we've had much information um, and also new beginning for others. Thank you very much to our speakers, Ms. Husseina, Dr. Dela, Dr. Saki. We are so much grateful for having the time. And also to our wonderful participants for taking time of your evening to join us in this meeting. We really appreciate that. Thank you so much. On that note, I will hand over to Mr. Mark Nyanko, who is the Vice President for Ghaska, so that he gives us the closing remark. Thank you for your time. Until then.
Thank you so much, Honorable Johnson, and good evening to us all. First of all, I would like to put across a couple of announcements before I give my closing remarks. The first one is the satisfactory survey. I have shared the link on the chat room and also on the Ghaska platform. It takes a minute. Kindly let us know how you feel about this program and also what needs to be improved on, and we will be more than ready to listen and learn. I think to them. The next one is the upcoming Ghaska program. Late February or the very end of February, the Ghaska Immigration Day is coming up. And now that we are going to be applying for the jobs, according to Ms. Husseina or Husseini, we will be applying for 10 to 20 jobs a day, which means that by February, we'll be having the job. Now, the next thing is going to be immigration issues, and we have you covered in the upcoming program. Make a date with us. This time around, we'll be doing it with co-works. Most of us will have already heard of them. They are a firm in Korea or a group which supports foreigners or foreign residents here with visa-related issues or visa applications and immigration issues, also with job opportunities. Do well and then make a deal with us for the program. Up next, on behalf of the executives and also on behalf of the association, I would like to extend profound gratitude to everyone who has made this event a success. First on the list would be to our speakers. And to do so, I'd like to, on behalf of the executives, take us through the citation, which will later be presented to or be sent to their offices. Next picture. Yes. This is a citation of appreciation from the Ghaska executives or from the association, and it is presented to the speakers. In recognition of your invaluable contribution as a speaker or at the Ghaska Job Fair 2025, held on January 25, 2025, under the theme, Navigating Career Success in Korea. Your insights, expertise, and dedication have inspired and empowered attendees to pursue excellence in their professional journey. Your participation has made a significant impact on the Ghaska community. We deeply appreciate your efforts in sharing knowledge and fostering growth in our community. With heartfelt gratitude, Ghaska executives. So with that said, we say a big thank you to Professor Duke and then Ms. Husseina Abdullahi for making time. One thing that I do recall, I am taking home from Ms. Husseina is that we should take charge or ownership of our work, and then others will get to realize that, or others will get to realize how reliable we are in our role. And the one thing which is very sure is that the owner can never be replaced. If you are the owner of your role, you can never be replaced. In that sense, we really appreciate you for your time and then for all the dedication you've put in to make this a success. And to everyone who make time to be with us today, we say a very big thank you. To our moderator, Honorable Johnson, we salute you. You did a great job today. To the executives and everyone, your works you put in behind the scenes have been acknowledged. And we do hope that our job applications in the future will be a success. Once again, thank you to everyone who made this job fair a success. May we all have or leave here motivated and ready to take the next steps in our careers. Thank you so much. Have a good day.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.